This conference will now be recorded.
Good morning, everyone. I am Rajni Jain. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I like to welcome you all to this online meeting. Please take a moment to review the guidelines for this online meeting posted in the chat window. I now request the moderator, Mr. Lakshmipathy, to introduce the speaker and start the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rajani. Good morning, everyone. I am Lakshmipathy. I'll be moderating this meeting. Agricultureinformation.com likes to welcome to this meeting Dr. Praveen Singh, an hydroponics professional from Gurugram, Haryana. Dr. Praveen Singh will be speaking on the topic hydroponics for urban farming. I now request the speaker to begin. Dr. Praveen Singh, can you come on the camera and unmute yourself, please? You can proceed, Dr. Praveen Singh. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to the participants who just something like shown an interest in a hydroponic, which is definitely is urban agriculture, and now urban farming is becoming a need for our. So today I'll try to give you a brief or a basic idea about what is the hydroponics and means how you can just consider it, what are the challenges or what are the myths around that. So I'll just briefly touch all the points, and then definitely as the plan is, we will take up your questions, and definitely the question according to me is more important. So I'm sure that you are going to have at the end that what is hydroponic, the basic concept of hydroponics, and at least you will be able to understand that why this is a technique which is now people are talking about. So let me start. And when we talk about any technology or any tool or anything, the first question arises in our mind that why? So let's try to understand why hydroponic farming is required. What somehow is the changes has happened, or what is something like changes around us is forcing this technology to adopt or to become a more attractive for the people who are living in cities. So the first thing is the agriculture output, second is agriculture resource, and third is expectation or requirement. So these are the three areas why this technology is becoming more popular. So if we talk about agriculture output, so the quality is continuously deteriorating, and we as a user or as a something consumer, we are not having any option to evaluate or test the quality. There are no tools. So what you are buying today from the market, you are not aware whether it is having a harmful chemical in it, how it is grown, and what is somehow is made the farmer or the grower to make it such an attractive, which you can see and feel like, yeah, it's really good. However, you don't have any tool to test that whether it is healthy for eating or not. So according to me, that is the one biasness we have. Whenever we export any produce, we do have the tool, we do have a minimum residue level testing certificates. Without that, we cannot export anything. So if we cannot do export anything with those quality parameters, so why not for us? So definitely the government or the technology institutions should work on that. But till the time we don't have any such tool, so what's the option left? So let's grow our own crop where you are sure enough that what is the quality of that produce. So that's how the hydroponic is somehow required, and that means growing your own crop with a skill, with the limited resources, is possible only following this hydroponics. And if we see in the society, the willingness and the willingness of quality or a quality awareness or willingness to pay for the quality is increasing, and that's how, if anybody is looking for hydroponic as a commercial venture, that is also possible. The second area why hydroponic is required, the agriculture resource. So what are the agriculture natural resources? Land, water, air. So all these things are becoming, if you are living in any metro cities, you are very well aware that the air quality is deteriorating, and in and around the metros, all the landfill areas, you never know what is the quality of a soil, and over and above, the growers, they never care on what the quality of produce. They are using even sewage water for irrigating their crop. Also, the pressure on land is increasing because of the infrastructure development, the building construction, the massive factories construction, other social infrastructure creation. So that is creating a lot of pressure. So ultimately, you can see that if the resources are a constraint, so what is the option left? Without utilizing those resources, can we do this any farming at our own home or at own balcony? So that's why this hydroponics come in picture, and it made that possible. Again, if we see expectation and requirement for anything, so the food demand is expanding. If we'll just grow, if we can just recall when we were means food importer, now we are food sufficient and exporter country, but continuous increasing demand is somehow a matter of a concern for the growers and the consumers. So if we can reduce that pressure by growing our own requirement in our own balcony, terrace, or at any smaller area, so that is going to ease out the pressure on the existing resources or existing production system. More from a less, that is the basic nature of any human being. So is the technique which gives you more from the less area, less resources. Yeah, definitely it required a higher capital investment. However, if you are going for a hobby hydroponics for your own, then that is also not the constraint. And we as a human being is always looking for a quick result. We are now becoming impatient, and we cannot wait for a longer duration for a result. And this is the technique which can give you a quick result. Whatever you are doing, you can see very next day. So the next thing, what if we see this farming whole operation? So there was a farmer, there was a consumer, and there was a chain of a middleman and logistic arrangement. So one thing has happened, everybody is aware, the pandemic, the COVID. So such pandemic are impacting the logistic chain. So the connect between farmer and consumer has broken. So farmer was producing, consumer was consuming, but the connect between both these entities were broken by this entrance of COVID pandemic. So that is also a situation when suppose there is such a disease where you will not be able to manage your supply chain, then this is the only option. Let's grow at your own place. So after understanding why hydroponics, so let's understand the difference between traditional and hydroponics, because that is the most common question people ask about, that how this technology is different than traditional farming. So let's understand that. So if we talk about traditional farming, so the resources required are for the farming, the essential resources: air, water, seed, soil, light, investment, and farmer. These are the resources required for traditional farming. However, if we talk about all the other resources are required for hydroponics only, except the soil. If we talk about the operations, tillage, seeding, irrigation, plant protection, weeding, harvesting, post-harvest, these are the some operation required to perform the farming operations. So that operation is also there, except the land preparation and the weeding is not required there because the soil is not there. Lower level of automation, yes, the automation has started in Indian agriculture also, but the level of automation in traditional farming is very low, but in hydroponic it's higher degree of automation. The skill required for doing a traditional farming is average, because most of the guys, they learn from their ancestor the growing crop. However, in hydroponic, the skill set required is really advanced, because there is something like a no escape route. Because in traditional farming, the soil is working as an buffering agent. So if the grower is doing any mistake, then the mistake is going to be absorbed by the soil, and whatever is beyond the capacity of a soil is going to be reflected on the crop. However, in case of hydroponics, there is no soil, so there is no buffering agent. So whatever you as a grower going to do is going to reflect in your crop within a 24 hours. So that's how the required skill is very high for growing hydroponics. So the next is the quality and quantitative conditions of what the productivity as well as the quality is. If I talk about the traditional farming, only limited farmers are there who can produce a best quantity and a quality. However, in case of a hydroponics, whoever is practicing hydroponic with a proper knowledge and skill, they all will get the standard quality, and the unit area productivity is going to be much higher than what the open area or traditional farming growers are getting. So that's the difference between these two farming methods. Let's understand then after knowing that why, and then what is the difference, and then now let's understand what is hydroponics. So this is something like a technical or a literature says hydros and ponos. So working with water is hydroponics. Or the second definition people used to talk about, growing crop without soil. So these are the very common definitions and very common understanding about the hydroponics. However, if we try to analyze the hydroponics, so what is hydroponics? So hydroponics is only related to root. So if we see the plant is having two parts. One is above the ground, which is shoot, and second is below the ground, is root. And hydroponic is only related to your root. Okay, so if we talk about technically, so creating ideal microclimate around the root zone is hydroponic. So if we see why hydroponic technique is giving you a better return, productivity, better health of your crop, because we are managing well the mouth, the feeding, the source of a nutrient absorption. And if the raw material supply source is the mouth or the root is healthy, then definitely your plant is going to be healthy. So if we talk about hydroponic is nothing. It is a technique which provide an option to create a better microclimate around the root zone. And if the roots are healthy, then your crop is going to be much better and healthy. So now let's try to understand what are the different types of hydroponics, because in general people know hydroponic is a technique, but if you just something drill down, go inside, there are different types of hydroponics, and that classifications are or categorization is based on growing condition and based on air nutrient circulation and based on the light requirement or light utilization. So if I talk about growing condition, so soilless is a one hydroponics, and then second is the nutrient film technique, and deep water culture is the another way of growing hydroponics. So what is the difference between soilless and rest of the two methods, nutrient film technique and deep water culture, is nutrient film technique and deep water culture only use the nutrient water. So the crop is only growing in the water. However, the soilless hydroponic is growing crop with some media. But if we talk about soilless, the media plays a crucial role. And now the question comes, means why these two? Why not only one? So over a period of a time, this technique has evolved, and the crop which required higher oxygen content, means the root, not the shoot. The root also required oxygen content, because root also respire. Those crops which have a longer period, growing period, as well as means higher leaf area of that plant, then that crop is performing good under soilless hydroponics, because in the soilless hydroponics, the air pockets, they trap oxygen in it, and because of that, the long duration crop like vine crop, tomato, cucumber, capsicum, all these are performing well in soilless hydroponics. And rest to nutrient film technique and deep water culture is good for short duration crops which require less oxygen for their root development. Now the question, let me first finish the soilless. So what is different types of a soilless is, maybe it's a grow bag block, means the blocks of a grow bags are there. If you see the picture on the top, there are pallets of a grow bag, there are individual grow bags, there are troughs also, you can see trough. So growing all those, and then Dutch bucket is also one system of a growing soilless hydroponics. So the bottom line for this soilless hydroponic is to use any growing media which is inert in nature, means the growing media should not have any potential of supplying nutrient, or it should not intervene with nutrient management of a crop. So that's the bottom line, and the best growing media is the cocoa peat, and you can use anything like paddy straw, paddy husk, or any inert media you can use, but you cannot use anything like compost or anything. Okay, now coming back to nutrient film technique and deep water culture, the major difference is nutrient film technique, if you see, it's a thin layer of a nutrient is just flowing in the channel, so root is absorbing that. But deep water culture, the level of volume of water is much higher than NFT. So the identification that which is the good system, so wherever there is the extreme of weather, the high temperature and low temperature, the deep water culture is a better, because the volume of water is there. So the changes in the root zone temperature, the impact of change in a root zone temperature will be lesser in deep water culture as compared to nutrient film technique. So the areas where we have a uniform temperature through around the year, so nutrient film technique is a better. However, in such areas where the wide range of a temperature, means higher and lower, both are prevailing, there also people are using NFT because of the problem in deep water culture of algae, because algae growth is the major challenge in deep water culture. So people are using NFT in these areas also by introducing a cooling system, means cooling or down the water, the chiller. So the recirculating water is, because see why this is required, because the water is the source of oxygen to your plant root, and temperature of water is something like very crucial for ensuring a level of oxygen. As the temperature goes of water, the oxygen level will go down and your crop is going to struggle. So that's how, with the cooling attachment of recirculating water, NFT can also be grown in a wide range of a temperature, where a high and lower is quite wide. As for nutrient circulation, the hydroponic can be divided into an open system and a closed system. Open system means where we are not recycling the water, means whenever we are supplying the nutrient water, it will leach and it will be going, it is going to be a waste. However, in a closed system, we just connect the leached water again to your tank, and with an adjustment of a EC pH, the water is recirculating. So efficiency, nutrient use efficiency is higher in closed system. And then light requirement, some of the guys doing natural light and some of the guys are doing an artificial light. So next question, after understanding a bit about hydroponics, now it comes the crops in hydroponics. So there are different crops, means some crops are very well established. So like wine crop, leafy vegetable, and some of the flower, they are very well known that they are performing good in this hydroponic growing system. So cucumber, tomato, capsicum, and I think you can see that. So the second crops category is, some of the crops are under trial, like essential oil bearing crop, medicinal crops, herbs, fruit crops. These are the people are trying, because that is required. And yeah, before ensuring or before going for any commercial production, the challenge for any new crop, you as a grower need to set the crop production protocol for that crop. So that's how this is under trial crop. But there are some crops which are which is still in consideration. So the bottom line, what the kind of a crop you can grow is, any crop can be grown in hydroponic crop production system. Yes, any crop. The important thing is, the requirement is, because in traditional farming, you know the package of practices, crop production protocol, how to grow your crop. But in hydroponic, if you are taking any new crop, you have to set the crop production protocol. And if you can achieve that crop production protocol, you can grow even an orchard crop also in hydroponics. But you have to develop the whole system. So there are some myths about this new technique, because whenever there is a new thing, so people gradually build their myths around that technology. So let's clear that myths also. Growing crop in a water is only hydroponics. So you have seen there is a system of hydroponics, that is soilless hydroponics, where we are growing inert media. We are using the media, growing media. So it is not something growing in water is only hydroponic. Is supplying nutrient with water is hydroponics. Hydroponic crop production can only be done under protected cultivation. So it is something like a boundary people are creating, that if we want to just go for a hydroponics, then we need to have a greenhouse for a commercial production. But if you have seen, I clearly mentioned the hydroponic technique is only related to roots. There is no connection of a shoot, and a greenhouse is creating better microclimate around the shoot. So if you want to produce during the season, then for hydroponics, there is no need of any greenhouse. If you want to use a hobby hydroponic for your home, there is no need for any protected cultivation. The protected cultivation is required only when you want to produce off-season crop. And generally what is happening, those who are investing such a high amount of capital, they prefer to have off-season crop, and that's how this hydroponic technique and greenhouse is gelling together. Another myth is hydroponic is not a natural technique. So because this myth created or generated because the soil is not there, and the belief is that without soil we cannot grow a crop. So this is somehow the nutrient or whatever the plant is absorbing from soil, we are also providing the same thing, whether it is coming from the soil or it is coming through the hydroponic nutrient solution. The plant don't have any sense organ. So this technology is absolutely natural technique. So it is a myth that it's not a natural technique. And the next question, it degrade the environment. Hey, how it is possible? Because we are accommodating more number for plant per meter square area, so it's mean we are cleaning our environment efficiently instead of polluting our environment. So if we talk about next myth, hydroponic makes a light that make use of light that is harmful. So plants, they don't have anything, they only can absorb the photosynthetic active radiation, whether it is grown in traditional or in hydroponic. They cannot absorb ultraviolet or infrared light. So this is a mere myth. Hydroponic can be practiced indoor only. So if indoor, yes, you need to do, you can, but not only. It can be grown in open environment also. If you want to grow lettuce during the winter or a strawberry during the winter, you can grow in your balcony without having any kind of indoor or a protected environment. Yeah, last two, these myths are means right for European countries or developed countries. However, in India, this is still a reality. Hydroponic is an expensive technique and difficult to practice because still in India, two things is missing. One is the indigenization of this technique, and the kind of a unit area return we are expecting is still a long way to go there. Difficult to practice, yes, because the skilled resources are missing. So these are some myths people are building up around this technique. So I thought that it's better to clarify that doubt. Now next comes the what is the scenario of a hydroponic. If we talk about something like this industry, we are in 2021, has grown, means if I take a 7% per year, it has already doubled, almost the doubled what I'm mentioning here, 21.4 billion. So that is the kind of an industry we have, and it is growing with a rate of a 7%. And then if we talk about 2050, 3 billion people could be living in an earth with over 80% global population living in urban. So the moment 80% population will migrate to urban centers, then this is going to be a technique which is means helping us to fulfill our food requirement. So that is the kind of a global scenario of hydroponic. You can see what is the opportunity this sector is having. However, in case of India, most of the projects are in initial stage and they are a pilot projects, and even I don't hesitate to say that most of them are struggling. So having said that, the struggling means the technology is not good. It is not right. It is because the required infrastructure, required skill is missing. If I talk you about the component of hydroponics, so we can just club the component of hydroponic into two parts. One is hardware, another is software. So hardware is whatever the infrastructure is required, like greenhouse, growing system, irrigation system, fogging system. So all those comes under hardware. And the software, how to grow your crop, means what crop, what time, what variety, what nutrient, means how to grow the complete. And the contribution of these two for the success of any hydroponic project is 20-80. Hardware contributes only 20%. 80% comes from how to grow your crop. So suppose you have really a good infrastructure hardware, but you are not having a skill resource to manage that, you will trap in that struggle mode only. And that is the scenario of our country. So if you want to just something like establish a hydroponic unit, so it is worth to share with you that what the step you should follow. So the people start with that what infrastructure they want. But if we really want to have a successful hydroponic project, so you start from the crop identification. So identify the crop based on a market potential, and then once you freeze that, then just see that what are the climatic requirements required for that growing that crop for your targeted market cycle. Once you freeze that, then you have to identify your hydroponic growing system, and detailing of hydroponic system is you need to do that based on your understanding, and then you just try a pilot project to validate your assumptions. And if you succeed in your pilot project, then based on that you will be able to develop your software, means how to grow your crop. And you also have to focus on a product development, because if you are going to compete with a traditional grower, you will be in trouble. So you have to have an innovative product, and then you go for a commercial project blueprint preparation. And finally, then once you are satisfied with your pilot, you are ready with your crop production protocol, you are ready with the customer's requirement, then only you look for the commercial project. So that's the step for achieving a successful hydroponic project. So the strategy what I was talking about for growing a crop or a crop mix, you need to have an innovative exotic vegetable produce with ability to produce a market lead. That is something like one thing. It is a kind of a mix or normal crop plus something like a unique you need to have in your basket to attract the market towards you. So let's try to understand some of the varieties which you can try, because you need to have some innovative things. So if I talk about some lettuce, if we talk about only romaine, you can see that these are the varieties which are rarely available in the market. So go for a normal one. We are not saying anything to that, but yes, you need to have some of the unique varieties which attract your grower. So these are some of the leafy as well as the butterhead lettuce varieties which you can try. And then there is a green Lolo Rosso also, or Bionda kind of a lettuce that is also very good for your growth. And Lolo Rosso and this black rose is available in your market. So you have to see that how to make a balance. So I'm giving my glimpse what we experienced in Delhi northern part in a hot area. So these are some varieties which perform really good, like Black Rose, Lolo Rosso, and Falbala. And the best was a Capria, is a Rizwan variety, which is really doing good. So these are the some information about the varieties. Then the uniqueness of a crop mix. If you see the cherry tomato, you have a different unique varieties. So I'm not saying that you only opt for a unique variety, because unique varieties are really difficult to grow. So maybe you can do a mixing of 80-20 of these unique plus a normal varieties. These are some capsicum. So red, green, yellow is a very common, but orange and purple is the unique capsicum available. So the next question comes that, okay, there are a good number of seed companies globally. What are the good companies? So I tried to list down some of the good companies which are which they can be approached for getting a quality seeds for hydroponic vegetables, or really a good quality vegetable. So these are some of the varieties carrot. Also you will see a different marvelous kind of carrots also. So I request maybe you people should visit the Johnny Seeds and try to see that what the varieties they have. Then I was not intended to touch this part, but yes, I thought that this is hard for any hydroponic growing system. So let me take little on this nutrient management, which is the heart of hydroponic growing system. The software within the software, the maximum contribution for success is the nutrient management. So basic of that is only water soluble fertilizer need to be used. Fertilizer compatibility need to be checked, means you should not mix all the fertilizer in one tank. Fertilizer sources need to be aware, means authentic, and crop stage specific nutrient need to be developed and provided. So two things, the EC and pH, means the nutrient concentration and the acidity or alkalinity need to be well maintained for ensuring success of a hydroponics. So this is one sheet or fertilizer recipe designing sheet we developed over a period of a time, where the grower don't need to do a much of a work. He only need to put a water quantity and different quantities of fertilizer and targeted EC, so to achieve that. So it's a very simple tool. You put a quantity of water, you just play around with your fertilizer quantity, you will get your complete fertilizer recipe, and you will get the desired EC also. So it is a handy tool for you. You need not to do all those calculations, only put the values, you will get the reading. One more thing I want to just highlight here: never use any soil fertilizer in hydroponics. And even 1919, which is a water soluble fertilizer, is not fit for hydroponic growing system, because the source of nitrogen is coming from a urea, and urea is a amide fertilizer which required a hydrolysis. So 1919 is not fit for hydroponic growing system. So with that, I just end my talk here, and I would be happy to take questions from the participants, and I hope I managed to share at least some of the basic thoughts around hydroponic, because hydroponic is really a wide area to understand. So yeah, I'm through with my presentation and ready to take questions. Thank you.
Well presented, Dr. Praveen Singh. Very well presented. Now I request the participants to ask their questions. We'll also be posting the speaker's contact details in the chat window, so that if you don't have time to take up all your questions, you can contact the speaker separately after the meeting also. Now over to the question round. Participants, the first question is from Mr. Mati. Yes, Mr. Mati.
Yeah, yes. Good morning to all. It's Dr. Praveen. It's a very nice presentation, very enlightening one. Say, I want to know, say, to try for hydroponic for urban farming. Say, a lot of people have this terrace gardening, so that can be slowly converted into hydroponics. We need a kit like basically to try it. You said it's not established in India, so we want to go like pilot project. So where we can get the kit and hardware equipments from the companies? You did listed seed company listed about fertilizer, but major input is the infrastructure for the hydroponic hardware, isn't it? So tell about that.
Yeah, there are kits available. So as I mentioned, it is not the infrastructure which is crucial. It is how to grow your crop. So if you go on Amazon and type that hydroponic kit, you will get a good number of options, and that you can utilize also. I'm not saying that you should not go up for that. However, what I want to just convey, because if you try to build your own small system for the terrace gardening, it is not the rocket science. Believe me, it is not the rocket science. What all required? A grow channel, some pipes, and then the water recirculating tank. It is any of these guys, the plumber, he can help you out to reach that level. If you really want to learn and practice this hydroponic, my suggestion is try to use the indigenized tools for developing your own small set of hydroponic. And otherwise, if you don't want to do that, number of kits are available online on Amazon. Okay.
Okay, so you did a lot of research on this one. Do you have any basic pilot project blueprint, like, which we can use it for designing ourselves? We can use local plumber, give the design, let him install it. Say for 100 square feet width or 50 square meter, like that. We can plan it. What are the basic systems like drip irrigation? They give standard equipment, filter and sedimentation and fertilizer tank, like that. You had any standardized blueprint for that?
See, you maybe give me something like WhatsApp, or you can just join our group on Telegram, the Hydroponic खेती wala, or you can just directly on my WhatsApp. I can share
Okay.
with you a small Excel sheet, as
Okay.
I shared with you the fertilizer recipe designing sheet,
Yeah.
where you can just something go on watching some of my videos on YouTube,
Okay.
and
Okay.
you will be able to understand that what are the hardware required. So I've tried to put all the knowledge on my YouTube channel, and from there you can pick, okay, if I want to go for my growing spinach, say for you want to grow your spinach, so what is the best growing system? The first is you need to understand that what is the best, going to be the best system for your spinach target crop. So according to that, you need to go for NFT system. And if the NFT, the next is that how many plants you want, and the moment you know the how many plants, then you can decide that what is the length of my pipe I want. So the pipe is the grow channel. If you're doing a hobby hydroponic, so you can even go for a circular pipe. But for any commercial project, you need to go for a flat bottom grow channel, because in pipes there is a challenge of root surface area contact is a lower, so the performance of your crop is little less. And in hobby growing system you can afford that, but in a commercial you cannot. So if you just use that, maybe you can ping, I'll just share that Excel sheet. You yourself can design your hobby hydroponic with my guidance and support. So I'm ready to
Okay.
extend that support. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I will put it in WhatsApp in a request to you. So it's I will try it. Thank you for your information.
That
Thank you.
that
Thank you. Next question from Shiva Subramanian. You have any question? You had indicated that you wanted to ask something. Mr. Shiva Subramanian, you have any question?
Yes, yes. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, this is a very good presentation.
Can you please increase your volume?
Okay.
Your voice is very feeble.
Okay, now it is audible.
Better, better. Please go ahead.
My question is a little different because this is a very interesting thing. Hydroponics for urban farming. So urban farming, only the top level, high class people are doing that. That you can know in Chennai also I am seeing. But you can also do another. This means you can see in the deltoic regions, the muddy soil are so much, and where the farmers are facing a lot of difficulties in farming their paddy crop or whatever it may be, and almost it is destroying. So where, and based on your talk, the plants can be grown through sand, gravel, or liquid, whatever it may be. This may be very good, and also nutrients to be added instead of fertilizers. That is the very interesting thing. But this is 1% or half a percent of urban cultivation. But we are seeing 90% or around that. Farmers are doing a lot of cultivation in the deltoic region, but their productivity is very, very low. The soil is there, but it is clay. How to convert this clay soil into like hydroponics? Because in the seashore you can have a lot of sand, but it cannot be usable. But what are the other suggestions to make these deltoic farmers to grow these type of because they are always saying only paddy is possible. So how to do that? And this presentation is specifically useful for urban people. There is no doubt at all. And if there is possibility, you can give a lecture on how to grow better crop in the deltaic regions. This is my request, and also I have come halfway. So whatever observed, and I think this is the best presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you. It's something like really interesting thought of just meeting or bridging the yield gap for diversifying crop, and which is much easier in hydroponic. I absolutely agree with that thought. Yes, it is possible, but it is going to take a long time when this technology is going to be adapted as per the means the traditional farmer or traditional growers. So it is possible, but a lot of work needs to be done for that. So uh, I should see, I can see in the two prospects. One is why we are looking to improve those target those farmers. That's the first question. Second is why can't we contribute for reducing a load on those growers? So I see this technique for reducing the load from production load from the growers. But yes, it is really good advice to bridge the productivity gap by yield improvement. Yeah, are working on that, and it is quite possible. But yeah, difficult to achieve that.
Thank you. Next question, participants. Participants who want to ask the next question, please. Any more questions? Yes, Mr. Brito, you want to ask? Or Mr.
Yes,
Uday
yes.
Kumar?
Yeah, I want to ask.
Yes, sir, please, Mr. Brito.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Lakshmipathy.
Please go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Praveen Singh, for a thorough and professional presentation. You have explained each and every item. I have got just 2 points. One is for seeds. I saw that you have not mentioned Indo-American hybrid seeds, which is one of the very old seed companies, and they have really got all the varieties of seeds with them. Second, hydroponics is not only excellent, and it is you get top grade output as well. But because it is soilless, certification is an issue. This is being targeted, and this is being uh, trying to solve this issue abroad in other countries like Netherlands and Europe and other places, I understand. But they've still not found a solution. Any idea on this? Could you please throw some light on this, please? Thank you.
Yeah, 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 Mr. Brito, absolutely agree on that Indo-American hybrids available. This is good company, seed company, and we can explore. However, whatever the companies are listed there, this how unique variety is the ratio. Maybe we need to have something like a balance between the novel variety versus the unique variety, and that was the criteria for just referring these. But however, there is no harm if you're getting a good second question of something like resolving the issue of organic certification. So my only take to that is why we want to indulge in this organic certification. Because if we see the market, gradually this hydroponic produce, I can say that most healthy produce is getting their space. The self, you can see in hyper marts and a big retail outlets, you can see now they have created a hydroponics section, and people are ready and willing to pay for it. For your information or for your knowledge, we are selling our lettuce means around 1,000 rupees a kg round the year, and we are not facing any challenge. During the winter also, we are not using our price because we are fulfilling the customer's requirement. We are saying that you can go for analysis of any of our use. It is a zero residue, and we are not at all using any harmful pesticide. So yes, if you want to have a wider section of buyers, then definitely this organic tag is going to give you a leverage. However, means as an hydroponic grower, we cannot claim it as an organic, but we can claim it as a most healthy produce if we are following the protocol of all those things, not using any harmful chemical, balanced fertilizer, taking all those precautions for contamination and all. Because in hydroponics, it is really difficult, but ultimately you see you are curtailing all those sources of contamination, like no soil, so no contamination from the soil. You are growing some of these, most of them are growing in a protected, so no air is there, contaminated air, and you are using RO water, so the contamination source of RO is also negated. And then some of the guys are using UV light treatment for the water they are recirculating, so further for a microbial population builder or a contamination we are just taking away. So my suggestion is, why we want to indulge in that, we need to communicate this to our consumers that this is the most healthy produce, you cannot get better than this. So, and people are there in the market who are ready to pay a premium. If till the time you are able to sell your produce at a high rate, and then people are going for a tag of organic or any, if you're getting a benefit, then definitely you should be fighting about that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Praveen Singh, for answering that. Before I get back to Mr. Sivasubramaniam, let me ask Mr. Uday Kumar to pose his question. Mr. Oh, he just logged out now. Okay, Mr. Sivasubramaniam, please pose your question.
Thank you, sir. So
Okay.
specific to this hydroponics for urban farming, I would like to ask Praveen Singh. So he has presented a lot of things, especially in the form of pictures that are very attractive. But how to follow these important suggestions as you presented in the session, this is what important, because the presentation is very good and we people are taking note of, and how, in what way it should reach to the urban people, especially the growers, because many of them may not be there. So in this regard, I also request our agriculture information to help to get more of this knowledge, technical related knowledge to reach the farmers, especially the growers. Thank you.
Okay. See, two things are there. One, I can feel like concern is how to do it for your something like information. I want to share that I am trying to put all these knowledge of a course on all the social media platforms. So I have a YouTube channel. I have a something like means, and it is not being created. Yeah, YouTube channel is being created by me. But the group, WhatsApp group and Telegram group is being created by one person like you only. And there we have my connect with those three four media is around 4,000-5,000 people. And yes, I welcome anybody is coming to any knowledge. I'm always ready, because my vision is to support or handhold those who want to venture, use this technology and ensure their success. So I'm trying to do my bit. Also, how to take it to the rural area for the farmer or growers. So that is somehow I don't feel like that the need of our is that. But first we need to establish it at our urban area, then definitely it will further to the rural area also. But at this moment, the costly one, and we should not even for heading towards the rural area.
Thank you. Mr. Brito, again. Mr. Brito, again. Mr. Sivasubramaniam, can you please mute your mic? Mr. Sivasubramaniam, can you please mute your mic? Yes, Mr. Brito, go ahead with your question. Mr. Brito, you have anything more to ask?
Hello.
All right. Yes, your mic
Hello.
is on. You want to ask anything
Yeah,
more?
my mic was off. Yes. Yeah. See, actually, yeah, hydroponics itself, they can have a certification by itself. That itself should carry weight. So I was asking somebody else also who's in this. They said yes, we can try for it. Perhaps such a certification will help easily
Uh,
because there is no
yes,
contamination. It is pure. It is tasty. Everything is there in the produce. So why not?
yeah, Mr. Brito, is this possible? The only thing is, if you talk about the commercial project, uh,
Yeah.
any decision of yours need to fetch you a value, because we also actually consider to certify our farm as an organic, and we got the code and all for doing that. And then later on we realized that we're getting a good premium on our price. Are we going to get a further premium by just something tagging it with the organic or certified? So after a long discussion, internal discussion, we ended up that it is not going to fetch us more return or more premium on it. So because we are selling at a very high premium, you can imagine that 1,000 rupees a kg around the year. But yeah, we have done some product innovation. Maybe something search on the Google. Farm in box is our product, what we are selling in Delhi NCR. So yes, I agree with you that it is quite possible to do advocacy and get certification for a hydroponic, and even not base that. And that only challenge comes when we are using the chemical fertilizer. So that's the modification required, because in the organic certification they don't use any chemical fertilizer.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Any
Thank you very
more
much.
questions? Any more questions, participants? Okay, I presume there are no more questions to ask. We have now completed the, yes, Mr. Brito, you want to ask anything more?
No, no.
Okay, okay, thank you. We have now completed the round of questions. I'd like to thank Dr. Praveen Singh on behalf of Agriculture Information for taking his time to speak with us with an excellent and detailed presentation. I now request the organizer of the meeting, Ms. Rajani Jain, to please close the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lakshmipati.
You're welcome.
I like to thank the speaker, Dr. Praveen Singh, for taking the time to talk with us. I also like to thank all the participants for their time. The meeting will now be closed.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
You're
Bye.
welcome, Mr.